Welcome to What You Missed Today from Voice of Emirates, an AI-powered daily news bulletin where we bring you a concise roundup of the top stories we have covered since this morning. From local, Arab and international news to economy, entertainment, sports and lifestyle. I'm the virtual presenter for Voice of Emirates. Now, let's begin with the highlights of what you may have missed today. The United Arab Emirates has strongly condemned a terrorist bombing targeting a passenger bus in Jaramana, near the Syrian capital Damascus, which resulted in a number of deaths and injuries. In an official statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaffirmed the UAE's categorical rejection of all forms of violence and terrorism aimed at undermining security and stability. The ministry also expressed its condolences to the victims' families and the Syrian people, while wishing the injured a speedy recovery. ADNOC has reaffirmed its commitment to meeting customer requirements despite an exceptionally challenging regional environment, while calling for the protection of safe and uninterrupted maritime navigation. The company said 15 of its vessels have been targeted by missiles and drones while transiting the Strait of Hormuz since the conflict began, including 3 this week, resulting in 1 fatality and 20 injuries. ADNOC stressed that it is taking necessary measures to protect its people, assets and operations while maintaining energy supplies. And from the international news, the Lebanese Ministry of Public Health says the death toll from the ongoing escalation in Lebanon has risen to 4,335, with another 12,273 people wounded as of August 7th. Hospitals and emergency services remain under severe pressure as they continue treating large numbers of casualties. Lebanese authorities have called for additional medical supplies and humanitarian support, while international appeals continue for an end to hostilities and greater protection for civilians and healthcare facilities. The United Nations and Yemeni officials are stepping up efforts to revive the political process and advance peace negotiations aimed at ending the prolonged crisis in Yemen. Recent discussions focused on creating conditions for the resumption of talks and strengthening dialogue among Yemeni parties toward a comprehensive and sustainable political settlement. Both sides stressed the importance of avoiding further escalation and preserving Yemen's security, stability, and territorial integrity. A U.S. official says Washington is prepared to immediately lift its blockade on Iranian ports once an agreement guaranteeing free commercial navigation is formally announced. The development comes amid intensive mediation led by Oman to narrow differences between Washington and Tehran over navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran and Oman have already reached a preliminary understanding on a proposed shipping route, while key details remain under negotiation. A final agreement could help ease regional tensions and restore stability to global trade and energy flows. And from the political news, the new Makkah Mutual Defense Agreement has placed Turkey under 2 collective security frameworks, alongside its long-standing membership in NATO. Signed with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, the pact considers an armed attack against any member an attack against all 3. While the publicly disclosed commitments do not automatically conflict with NATO rules, Article 8 of the Washington Treaty prevents members from entering agreements incompatible with their NATO obligations. The real challenge could emerge if a future crisis forces Ankara to balance commitments under both defense frameworks. Israeli Channel 14 reports growing concern within Israel over assessments that U.S. President Donald Trump is moving toward a settlement with Iran. Former Israeli military official Uzi Dayan argued that Israel must preserve its freedom of military action, including the option of acting independently against Iran. The report says Israeli officials fear a diplomatic settlement could leave Tehran's ballistic missile capabilities intact, while Trump has indicated he expects the conflict with Iran to end soon. The Pakistani military says its forces killed 10 militants from the banned Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP, during separate clashes in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. According to the military, security forces foiled an attempted attack on checkpoints in Azam Warsak, South Waziristan, killing 8 militants, while 2 others were killed in a separate confrontation. The operations come amid heightened militant violence in northwestern Pakistan and continuing security operations against armed groups in border areas. And from the business news, UAE stock markets showed mixed performance during Friday trading, with Dubai shares advancing while Abu Dhabi stocks moved lower. The Dubai Financial Market General Index ended the session up 0.42% at 5,942.98 points, while Abu Dhabi's main index fell around 0.26% to 10,094.67 points. The contrasting performance came as investors assessed corporate earnings and movements across key sectors, keeping trading selective across the country's 2 main exchanges. Construction of the Trump International Hotel and Tower Dubai is progressing according to schedule, with the landmark project now moving into its next phase. Developer Dar Global has appointed Gulf Asia Contracting to carry out the podium works following the enabling phase. Located on Sheikh Zayed Road at the gateway to downtown Dubai, the tower will rise approximately 350 meters across 80 floors, combining a luxury hotel, branded residences, and an exclusive private members club. UAE-based Dana Gas reported a 47% increase in net profit for the first half of 2026, reaching 393 million dirhams compared with 270 million dirhams a year earlier. Revenue also surged 51% to AED 946 million, supported by higher hydrocarbon prices and increased production in Egypt. The company said the results also included a one-off AED 176 million gas metering reconciliation, while Egypt's production rose 7% year-on-year. And what you might missed from the art and entertainment news, renowned American author George R.R. Martin, creator of A Song of Ice and Fire, has spoken candidly about his struggle with depression and the challenges of growing older. The 77-year-old writer said recent years have brought increasing physical and psychological pressures, compounded by professional commitments and expectations surrounding his long-awaited next novel. Despite these difficulties, Martin says he continues to work on The Winds of Winter, as fans worldwide await the next chapter of his celebrated fantasy saga. Some of the world's most famous horror stories were inspired not only by imagination, but by real experiences, nightmares, and personal fears. Stephen King drew on fears of accidents, illness, and isolation for works including The Shining and Pet Sematary. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein emerged from a disturbing dream in 1816, while Bram Stoker's Dracula drew inspiration from Eastern European legends and historical figures. For these writers, real-life fears became timeless stories that continue to terrify generations of readers. British-Turkish writer Kenan Orhan has earned a place on the 2026 Booker Prize long list with his novel Renewal. The book explores themes of memory, identity, and the human experience, combining psychological depth with philosophical reflection. Orhan is among several debut novelists competing this year, with the long list featuring 13 books, selected from 163 submissions. The recognition places Renewal among the standout works in a diverse year for contemporary fiction. We conclude our roundup with the top sports news stories you might have missed. Egyptian club Zamalek has revealed its financial conditions for the permanent transfer of Brazilian winger Juan Alvina Bezerra to UAE side Shabab Al Ahly. Zamalek is demanding $6 million paid up front, plus up to $1 million in performance-related bonuses. The Egyptian club also wants a 20% share of any future resale, as negotiations continue over a potential summer move to the Dubai club. The Argentine Football Association has reaffirmed its support for FIFA President Gianni Infantino, despite mounting criticism and calls for his resignation. The AFA praised Infantino's leadership over the past decade and welcomed FIFA's decision to withdraw the controversial FIFA Forward Enterprise proposal. Argentina said continuing under the current FIFA leadership remains the best path for developing global football and making the sport more inclusive and accessible.
That was your roundup of what you may have missed today from Voice of Emirates. For the full stories, visit our website and follow us on social media for the latest updates. Thank you for watching. See you next time.